Let me give you another example of an image. I'm looking at an image right now. I can tell you about it. It's basically, it's quite a funny one actually. This is a very funny picture. It's a black and white photographer photograph, or a black and white photograph taken in 1939 at London Zoo. We see a young Chinese photographer called Ming taking a photograph of his friend Mike, a little English boy. Mike's on the right-hand side of the photograph. He's sitting on a chair wearing black shorts and a long-sleeved t-shirt with a collar, and Ming is on the left. His camera's on a tripod, but since Ming's not very tall, he's standing on a chair to reach it. I don't know if you can guess which picture this is, but it's the front cover of the book. So it's another way to do it, is to exploit it. Take a picture where you've got animals doing strange things. Describe the picture to your students in all of its detail, as much detail as you can. Get as much language out of that picture as you can. Prepare it as a text. Have the text in front of you so that your students can't see it. You're also looking at the photograph. Read out the text as clearly as you can. Use gesture to teach the words and the language that your students don't know. Read it out a second time, a third time, a fourth time. Get your students to ask questions about it. And then, before you show them the picture, ask them to recreate your description. In other words, ask them to reconstruct the text, which is a vital part of this activity. So that's what we call mental image dictation. There's no pens and paper necessary. And that's an example of an activity from the first chapter in the book, which is listening. And the book is divided into listening and receptive skills and productive skills. And I suppose that when we're looking at the receptive skills, there's a common thread, and that is that we're using image to really engage students, give them some good experience in the classroom. They're fun. They also really get curiosity going, don't they? You can get students' curiosities really moving and flowing through the use of image. And importantly, we can also use image to revise the language that was used in conjunction with it later on down the road. So this is maybe a common way of using image, a general, quite a standard way that teachers use image in the classroom, isn't it? So another example, this is images for reading. This chapter is the second chapter in the book. It's very, very, very simple activity, very standard activity. As I've said, we start off with a picture. This is, do you know who that is, Tyson?
No. Patty. Oh,
Patty,
Hearst. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Patty Hearst. And
See how cultured I am.
Spot. Yeah, you got her. Sorry to put you on the spot. If anybody had shown me this picture 2 years ago and asked me who she was, I wouldn't have had a clue. I discovered this story just as I was writing the book, and I just thought it was the most incredible story. It's a mugshot. To me, is a booking photograph. Is a perfect example of a picture that tells a story. It tells, and if you're a celebrity mugshot, the story is possibly even more fascinating for all of us, isn't it? Just think of mugshots of all of the celebrities that we've grown to love.
Yeah.
Paris Hilton and
Nick Nolte comes to mind.
Yeah, we do. We've got so many, don't we? Mel Gibson and I like this one a lot because for me the story is so fascinating. The story of this young girl who was kidnapped. She was kidnapped by an urban terrorist group. They tried to hold her to ransom for all sorts of strange demands. They wanted her father, who was a publishing magnate, very, very well known, to deliver food to the poor people in a specific area in California. And this was completely unpractical. He tried to do his bit. He failed. They kept changing their demands. This young girl, I think she was 19, Patty Hearst, started to lose faith in her father. She did this through a number of recordings that were released from the terrorist group to the media, and slowly and little by little she starts to denounce her own father. And the most incredible incident happened a few months later when the whole gang is caught on camera robbing a bank, an armed robbery, and who is right in the middle but this young girl who was kidnapped. And she was caught and she was sent to prison for it. And it's a whole story in images. An important point here is we can make use of texts from Wikipedia, for example, a whole range of sources, online sources often, and we can use multiple texts. This girl's story is all over the internet, and we can take different texts, we can compare them, we can compare facts. And you still there, Tyson? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Good. Everything just went quiet, and I just got a little bit worried. So we can compare these facts. But the important thing is these three things I mentioned before, that we use the image to engage the students. We use it to get their curiosity aroused. And once they get involved in the reading task and we close the lid on that activity, we can then later on down the road, we can take the image out, ask students what they remember about it, and in doing so, completely revise and revisit and recap the language that was used in conjunction with it. And in the book, there's a text that I wrote specifically all about this story of Patty Hearst. Yes, so that's what this was reading, wasn't it? Okay, chapter 3, images for writing. So we've just moved off the receptive, haven't we? And now we're going on to the productive. So this is these next two chapters, writing and speaking. We're looking at images to get language being produced by our students in the classroom. One of a term that I've used in the book is language voids. Now, what is a language void? It's quite strange. But to me, this is an example of an image that creates a language void. This is, as you can see, this is a very, very, very naughty dog. Now, the language... I don't know whose dog this is. I found this dog. I found a picture on the internet, and I just thought it had to be a picture that we used in the book because it does look so funny to me, this little dog. The thing is, you take a picture, you stick an arrow on its head saying this is a very, very, very naughty dog, and immediately you've got the need to explain what the dog did. It's and this is the language void. There's a sort of vacuum that needs to be filled with language, and it's amazing if you just take a single picture into the classroom sometimes, and you just, as a teacher, you've taken a picture, and you're prepared just to try to relax a bit and really get as much out of it as you can, not be scared of those long silences that we sometimes get in the classroom when asking your students to come out and use their imaginations, but just to relax with that and have them create their own stories, their own explanations, and then let this picture lead to other things like their own experiences of their own pets that they've had, their own dogs, and things that their own dogs have done, bad things that their dogs have done. And everybody's either got a dog or a cat that's done something bad, or everyone knows someone who's got a dog or a cat that's done something bad. And that's one of the basic ideas for the activities in the productive language chapters, this one being writing. So the idea for this is for students to make wanted posters for their pets.